MRC X-Treme at Singapore. We've resorted the lobby. We are back in, ready for the race. Hopefully everyone who on that grid will remember to reload their setups. And just on a funny note, one of our drivers decided to jump ship because in the break, Single Tracks decided to jump ship from McLaren and sign a contract with Red Bull.
Yeah, he certainly did. Not his best choice, let's say.
Yeah, probably wants to show Max and Tsunoda how that Red Bull's driven.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But, hey. We shall see, I guess. But, I think we're going to have to wait 2 minutes for guys to get going.
Yeah, it's giving everyone a chance to reload the setups. Yeah, hopefully we'll be go racing around the 19 corners of Singapore, 12 to the left and 7 to the right, which makes up the entirety of the Marina Bay Street circuit.
Yeah.
And here we are on the grid.
All right, we've got lights for a formation lap this time at least. Time.
We'll soon find out when they make the way back round to their grid positions.
Yeah, we most certainly will, without a shadow of a doubt.
Mark in the YouTube chat, let's bring the Wednesday night entertainment. We're gonna try, Mark, once the lights go out, that's for sure. Because I'm sure we're gonna, well, I wouldn't expect too much fireworks with Chris and Ant on that front row, because in my opinion they're too buddy and I don't tend to race each other hard too much. I think there's too much Mercedes love between those two from the times back racing Tier 1 in the same team.
Yeah. I think they think they're still teammates even though they're not. But hey.
To be fair, I'd really love to see fireworks between these two, because I don't think we had a slight bit of fireworks between these two, and in Tier 1 I believe it was Canada, and
oh, I remember.
Yeah, the final chicane. There was a lot of ooh-ah about that.
Yeah, I want to be a fly in the wall if those two come together.
Sadly, I don't think that'll ever happen. Just quickly get the track and have a look at the tyres. Everyone's gone for the same tyres again. Single track on the hard, so everyone going for the exact same strategy as before. As we wait for the 5 red lights, and here we go. There's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it's lights out and off we go in Singapore, and it's a great getaway for Chris and Ant on that front row. Yeah, Chris holds the lead through turn 1, Ant holds second. Armour up to 4th, fighting C8 Lou as they go side by side. And C8 Lou gets the position back, so both Racing Bulls in 3rd and 4th off the grid. Everyone getting away nice and tidy. Rassam jumps ahead of Soze as they head down towards turn 7. And now both Aston Martins. This is a bit of a contact between the Aston Martins, and round goes Soze. keeps it out of the wall, and Dan's lost the back end and the braking as well, so that's put him back round and towards the back in the kick Sauber. We'll jump back to the front as Doris is all over Ant in these opening stages of lap 1. The Racing Bull right tucked underneath the Mercedes. No DRS on this lap, we get DRS on lap 2. Chris, a bit of a gap. Yeah, it's very close between the top drivers in. And as we know, red car is Singapore specialist.
Yeah, he's like it's Checo Perez when it comes to street tracks.
Yeah, he seems to shine more at street tracks, especially Singapore and Monaco in particular. But as we know, he's always shone at Singapore. As we have the two Racing Bulls going side by side down towards turn 7 as C8 Lou gets ahead of Doris to take the lead in tier 2. But with these two fighting, it's allowing Ant to pull away. So Chris and Ant able to stretch their legs in these early stages.
That's not really their race though, is it? In all
no,
honesty.
It's not. Ooh, Armar very close to the wall.
So if Armar doesn't win today, Chris will get... I mean, as things stand, Armar will score, what, 15?
We have a yellow
Chris
flag.
Will get a 5-point advantage.
Peninsulas round with no front wing. So that'll be a trip for the Williams into the pits.
No safety car though.
No, as we still got the Racing Bulls scrapping away over first and second in tier 2. Armar and Redcar sat right behind. As we have a right tussle between Rassam and Bobo. Bobo up to P8 on lap 3 already from starting right at the back. He's quietly making progress in that Williams. He'll be making, he'll be wanting to catch up to Chris and Ant, because if it weren't for the qualifying ban, that's where he'll most likely be, because Bobo's been keeping Chris and Ant busy throughout X-Treme throughout the season, as he's having a look around the outside of Rassam, but not able to make the move done, as we still have the Racing Bulls still scrapping away over third and fourth. C8 Lou still ahead of Doris, but he's got quite a train forming behind him as Soze and Single Track having a tussle of their own further back. Aston Martin versus Red Bull as Lorpy down the inside of turn 13 on the kick Sauber Rassam, as Bobo has also made the move as well. So Bobo up to 7th already, and we're on lap 3. Bobo making quiet, steady progress. His next target will be red car in that Mercedes.
Yeah, it certainly will.
As we'll jump back to the battle for 3rd and 4th, which is the lead 2 in tier 2.
There's a bit of a train forming behind these guys now. And Bobo's also made a sensational start, may I add.
Yeah, he's gone from 13th to 7th in the space of 4 laps. Slowly but surely and steady and quiet, keeping himself out of trouble. As Ant is now on the back of Chris. As we'll jump back again, as Doris has got back ahead of C8 Lou under DRS, runs a bit wide. C8 Lou seen it. Almost contact with Doris rejoining. As Bobo is right on the back of this train now. He's right underneath red car's diffuser of that Mercedes. As we have a yellow flag, and that will be Peninza round at turn S17. He's got going again, and the yellows have been cleared.
He's not had a great start to this race, has he?
No, and yellows again, but still going is Peninza. As we got a right tussle here as Bobo looking around the outside of red car, but just enough space given from the pair of them as Bobo muscles his way through past red car for P6. Not really an overtaking spot, but both of them clean.
Yeah, they both got through, but Bobo really is on a charge.
Yeah, he's making up for the qualifying ban at a track that's not particularly very good at overtaking. As Chris and Ant are plucking away out front. 3 seconds to the train behind. So Chris and Ant focusing on their own races. Oh, as Doris clips the wall on the way through. Just a little kiss with the right rear. Slight kiss, but no harm done. As long as it's only a kiss and nothing more around here.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually get away, surprisingly, with hitting the wall.
Yeah, but you got to hit it just right, haven't you?
Yeah, if you hit it with your will, surprisingly, you tend to be alright.
Anything else and it's an early shower.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to put it. So, yeah, I mean, I had a few. The worst bit is the damage I got in that race was really annoying because of the fact that it sort of came from the slowest hit of the wall I had. So, yeah.
As Peninza's retired in the pit lane, so that's 1 down, 12 still running on lap 6. Doris still holding firm in third, keeping C8 Lou behind, which is neutralised Bobo's progress, being stuck behind the likes of Doris, C8 Lou and Armar. So Bobo's storming progress has come to a halt for the time being, as he's got 3 tier 2 drivers fighting over the top 3 places in tier 2.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Which was red car had a massive moment. Yeah, that's red car. The car had a snap. He went in the wall. There's no damage on that Mercedes, so red car gets away with one, but he's dropped down behind Lorpe and Rassam. A few cracks in the armour for the Singapore specialist tonight as a bit of a twitch for Lorpe. Just keeping it out the wall as well.
I don't know if red car's feeling a bit unwell or whatever, but I know he wasn't meant to. He did miss someone saying he wasn't going to race tonight. So I don't know if it's a last minute choice, but...
Well, fair play to him if he's decided to race unwell, because I've been there a few times and it's not easy. Oh, as Rassam's lost it. He's lost both end plates as well. No safety car though, but that's both Kick Saubers now at the back end of the running order. Rassam will be looking to make a stop and going onto the hard tyres, getting a new front wing in the process. As it's still as you are with 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th with Doris, C8 Lou, Armar and Bobo all in close proximity of each other.
Yeah. One of the RBs was just ghosted. I wonder if they clipped the wall. I think it was C8 Lou.
Possibly, because if you clip something and then your car's going slow enough, it does ghost that car for in case anyone comes through.
Yeah, they were ghosted just coming out of the Anderson Bridge, so I do wonder if maybe they hit that little right hand jink. Just
yeah, the little
hairpin.
part that sticks out where Chris ended up retiring the last time we were here.
Yeah.
But you're saying about not easy to overtake during the stream earlier, and we're getting that clear as day with Doris, C8 Lou, Armor and Bobo unable to do much. But Doris controlling the pace well from this 4. He's keeping C8 Lou at arm's bay, but Bobo makes a move down the inside of Armor, so that's another one ticked off for Bobo. He's wanting to get past these cars as quickly as possible because he'll need to close that gap up to Ant and Chris. We have had a change for the lead in the process. Ant is now ahead of Chris, but I can guarantee you those two are working together.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, Doris still...
see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, Doris still keeping C8 Lou behind. Armar's dropped back a little bit since being overtaken from Bobo, but he's still within that train, but this time at the back of it, so Armar in a comfortable place because with being at the back of this train, if anything happens with Doris, C8 Lou or Bobo, with being at the back of the train, you've got chance to react to it and take any avoiding action you need to make.
Yeah, for sure.
Just going to have a little look further back at the battle between Lorpy and Redcar for 7th and 8th. Redcar plucking away despite having the moment out of turn 13. DRS, but not close enough to make any attempts on Lorpy, so Lorpy holds on. And it'll be as you are until the next DRS zone. We've got Soze P9 in the other Aston Martin in his own as Rassan picks up the first 3 seconds of the evening in X-Treme. Single track plucking away on the hard tyre, going for the long first stint. Down in P10, 2.7 seconds off of Soze. We'll jump back up to the battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th with Bobo looking very close to the back of C8 Lou, goes for a move, but C8 Lou closes the door, not allowing Bobo through, so Bobo having to wait even longer. These 4 are over 5 seconds behind Chris and Ant at this stage.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be stressing too much about that though. They're fighters with each other.
Yeah.
So
the only one that it's not really helping is
to start attacking these two.
Yeah, it's the one it's not really helping is Bobo, because he wants to be up there with Ant and Chris fighting for the win as he has DRS and he's going for the inside of C8 Lou. The C8 Lou trying to hang it around the outside, which then becomes the inside.
He's gone for the switchback.
Great racing between C8 Lou and Bobo there. Plenty of space given by both drivers. Bobo having a little look, but ducked back in.
I was praying he did not go into the sling then with the old sling, I should say, with the side by side. That would have been pretty scary.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the notable places that's not for overtaking.
Yeah.
But with the scrapping, C8 Lou's dropped off a DRS from Doris, and now he's coming vulnerable to Bobo and Armar now. So this will play into Bobo to tick off another driver to make his way further up overall, but he'll still keep him third in Tier 1.
Yeah, it certainly will.
As we'll have a little look at the front two in the meantime. Ant and Chris quietly going amongst their own race, 6.1 seconds up the road from Doris, who's not really going to care too much about the gap because all his focus is being the top tier 2 driver, as Bobo's plucked another one off and is up to P4.
Yeah, most certainly.
Now C8 Lua want to try and use Bobo to get back up to Doris to resume that scrap. Bit of a lock up for Bobo, and all the rear went as well. He held it nicely though, kept it out the wall as in the process. So Bobo lives to fight another day. Caught that very well. Heart in mouth moment.
Definitely a juicy one, because now it's good. Bobo's going to be doing everything he can to catch back up to Doris. C8 Luke kind of just needs to stay in the DRS of Bobo and hope he drags him along back onto Doris.
Yeah, and Armar will be wanting to stay on the back of C8 Luke, so he gets pulled along as well.
Yeah, well, these guys are starting to run away from Lorpy now, so...
Yes, red car's pitted.
Ryan. Oh, Ryan's in the pit.
Yeah, he's gone in on lap 12 for the hard tyre. The first to blink.
Yeah.
With the gap that they have out front, I'm wondering if Chris and Ant are probably going to look at extending these mediums a little bit. Because they've got the gap too.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, if Ant wanted to make a move on Chris, I'm not being funny, he'd have made it by now.
Oh yeah, they're in no rush.
Staying out front.
It's apart from third, fourth, fifth, sixth. It's very spread out, and then you got Chris and Ant up front just minding their own business like it's a Sunday drive on a Wednesday evening.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I think it's at the point in the race where those that are still out on the mediums are nursing them to try and extend the life, as we have Armard diving into the pits, so he's going to be going for the hard tyres on lap 13. Lorpy's in as well, which releases Soze up to 6th. Now I wonder if Doris or at least C8 Lou, or both of them, are going to react to Armar pitting on this lap, because if they keep going any longer they're going to be in danger of being undercut. Yes, they'd have the tyre life over Armar, but it depends on what kind of a gap Armar gets once they come out.
For sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this gap plays out.
But Bobo's back in DRS of Doris, which has brought C8 Lou back in contention as well. So C8 Lou doing exactly what he needs to do, keeping himself within DRS of Tier 1's Bobo to be pulled along, because he'll know that Bobo has better pace than him and will keep him within touch of Doris, who, as we know, has got some phenomenal pace underneath him, as Bobo and C8 Lou have come in, so they're reacting to Armar's stop on the lap before. Doris has decided to continue for another lap, as Soze's in as well, as single track goes through. He's on the hard tyre, so he'll be going much longer than everybody else.
Yeah, certainly will. It'd be
as we'll jump to Armar to see where he is in comparison to Bobo and C8 Lou, who have just come out the pit lane but they both fall behind Armour, so Armour gets the undercut, pitting a lap earlier. His hards are going to be in a lot more working temperature, whereas Bobo and C8 Lou are going to have to get theirs switched on. So Armour will be looking to take advantage of having better tyre temps. But that's fell nicely for Armour to jump those two in the stops.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The question is, will Doris now react? Because he'll be in danger of falling behind all three of them if he doesn't pit. So in my opinion, he should pit on this lap to cover them off. Oh, is he little brush with the wall on the exit? And he does. The Racing Bull is heading in.
Oh, Chris has just had a huge moment in turn one.
We just jumped to the Ferrari. There's no damage on it, so he's kept it out the wall.
He did, yeah, he didn't hit the wall, but it looked like pure dirty air off the Mercedes. He was going into one, and then obviously it leads you straight to two. He completely just wobbled. The front end just didn't want to do it.
I wonder if the tyre's probably playing into fact as well, but as you say, dirty air, the biggest factor there, because he's so close to the back of the Mercedes that he's not going to be getting the optimal airflow on that car.
Yeah, that's for sure. But
I mean, to be following Ant as close as he is, I know they're both working, both going to be communicating with each other because they're in a party together. But to follow that close to another
Chris.
car in front, yeah,
No,
DRS open, but decides to stick behind the Mercedes. As Bobo is now ahead of Doris. So Doris got out ahead of Armour and C8 Lou from that pit stop. But now Bobo is past all three of them and he's in clean air.
Leaders both in.
Yep. So single track, I don't think will take the lead at this point because he's over 20 seconds behind.
No, he's it's gonna be. No, I don't think he will.
No, it would. He
might actually.
It's going to be close. No, it's very clear.
He will.
He's clear. He is clear.
Yeah.
So single track takes the lead. Still yet to stop.
The fact here is the pit lane here is around about 27 seconds long.
Yeah, and it's, in my opinion, one of the most...
That was a 22-second gap they had. So
yeah, and now they're 3.9 behind single track. But as we know, single track...
I've given that information out to the world after the race week is over, so they're never going to get to use it on F124 again. Sorry, guys.
Good information, just poor timing.
Yeah, can you do that on season 1 next time, please, guys?
Right, I'm guessing you're going to be put on comms then, the first race at Singapore on 25 then.
No, this is the worst one because it goes on, like, this is the longest track, especially straight after you've just done your own race as well and you've had a red flag. This is the longest track you can commentate on. But,
yeah, I had it.
I was ahead, so.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about because I had a long run on Monday doing both Tier 2 and Tier 1, and like I said to you before the stream went on, Tier 2 was wet qualifying in a wet race, so that felt like an eternity on its own.
Yeah, well, I mean, even in the dry, this is the longest race on the calendar. If there's more than like 2 safety cars in real life, they have to start looking at whether they're going to put a time limit on the race.
Ooh, see it, Lou, 3 seconds. That's going to come back to bite him towards the end of this one. But he's got 4 seconds to red car.
You mentioned this, but Armour is ahead of him.
Yeah, Armour jumped him at the stop. Armour pitted a lap before and jumped C8 Lou on the stop. As Chris is making a move on Ant for second place. They've closed the gap to single track to 1.4 seconds, but that's the difference in tyre life. But the biggest one is the gap was 6 seconds when Chris and Ant came out, as Chris had a moment there and held it like an absolute... I can't say champion because he's not one just yet.
I mean, take the words out of my mouth, why don't you?
But the gap I'm looking at was 6 seconds from Chris and Ant to Bobo. It's now 5.4. So Bobo is absolutely flying at closing that gap down, as now Chris will be looking to attack Single Track, who's going to be on a lot less weaker tyres. But Single Track is going to fight it.
They are he's very much fighting this down that straight.
Yeah, he's got every right to, as much as it'll peeve Chris off. He's got every right to.
I wonder if Martin's trying to pull out his inner Max Verstappen being in the Red Bull.
He's I think he's just let Chris through there.
Max Verstappen would have totally sent it into turn 1 there. He'd have put Chris into Narnia, so he's definitely not trying to channel that.
Yeah, but now Ant's got to try and overtake the Red Bull now. So he'll have DRS off the Red Bull.
Maybe he's channeling his inner Sergio Perez and making that Red Bull the size of...
Oh, that's a squeeze! Contact! I would say what Ant is... Oh, Ant's not happy with that one. The little wiggle, he's furious with that one.
Oh,
I can guarantee you there was a few words of profanity in French at that very moment that I will not repeat. A little bit
frosty, I think, but yeah, just know I'm staying out of it. But
I'm gonna try and not mention that again. Cause,
I think we'll see that in the stewards, possibly. But yeah, that's all I'll say.
I blame you for saying that Single Track's going to use his inner Max Verstappen, because he pretty much did, but that's all I'm going to leave it at.
Then as I was saying down that straight, maybe he's going to develop his inner Checo Perez and make that Red Bull very big, which he also did. Like, he did it with Chris as well. Chris wasn't able to get him down the straight because Martin was defending brilliantly. Ant has just totally cut turn 1.
Yeah, watching the progress of Bobo as he's now reeling, Single Tracking, hand over fist, and he's bringing Doris Armour and C8 Lou with him.
Yeah, there's a whole entourage coming after these two at the minute. So
it's like a blue mafia coming up behind Single Track.
I do wonder, I've just watched that incident with Ant and Single Track back. Don't get me wrong, the squeeze has definitely happened, but the moment where Ant hits the wall, it does look like there is a little bit of lag. I've just watched it back. Don't get me wrong, the squeeze has happened. Obviously, that can be seen however you guys see it. Just you decide that amongst yourself. But that's happened. But on my screen, for sure, Ant hit the wall. However, I've watched it on stream, and the moment where he hits the wall actually looks more like lag than it does.
Yeah, Single Track's getting absolutely swamped right now by the gaggle of cars that have caught him. Doris and Bobo and Doris have made the way through.
Oh, almost round!
Oh, that's going to be... Oh, he's going to come under pressure from Red Car, so...
That's bad for his championship.
Yeah. Red Car's going to be on the attack.
Chris Bailey will only score 20 today. As things stand, he will be down to 12, which means Chris will get a 7-point gap and take the points gap up to 13 points.
Which is what Chris will need.
12.
And on another note, Bobo was bringing that gap down to Ant, but because Single Track trying to get past him, that gap has now opened up to 7 seconds now from 5 or 6 seconds, as Rassam's now retired in the pit lane. So now, well, that's 2 cars down now. We've got 11 left running. Once Dan finishes the lap he's on. So we started with 13, we're now down to 11. Bobo with his rear view full of Racing Bull blue. Can't really say Racing Bull white yet because we're not on 25.
Yeah, for sure.
The gap out front now between Chris and Ant is just over a second. It's 1.1, but that is gradually coming down.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
But good to the fight for 6th and 7th, which is 3rd and 4th in Tier 2 between Redcar and Armar. Redcar 3rd in Tier 2 as it stands, Armar in 4th. Obviously Armar had that moment which has dropped him behind the Mercedes. Armar with DRS. Gaining under the Mercedes, he goes to the outside, which then becomes the inside. Redcar sweeps it around the outside, goes off track. But I think he was ahead in the process, so I don't think he needs to give the place back because he was ahead into the corner. So Armar still stuck behind the Mercedes of Redcar, which with, as you say, Chris leading, he's only guaranteed 20 points with not having 5 Tier 1 drivers. And I think you said Armar will...
Does fastest lap happen in X-Treme?
No, we do not have fastest lap in X-Treme.
Okay.
Oh, Redcar had a bit of a moment out of turn 14, which has allowed Armar to get through. So Armar up to 3rd now in Tier 2 as Ant sets the fastest lap of 30.7.
Yeah,
which is significantly faster than the real life record of a 1:34.486 from Ricardo.
So, what is the new lap record all time of this? It's held by the baguette man himself.
It's gone from an Aussie to a French.
Great.
Dan getting out of the way. Out front, which is the yellow flag, and now he's going to be getting out of the way.
I want to give a shout out quickly, actually, to Dan. He's a Tier 3 driver who joined the league using every assist ever, and he's turned up to every X-Treme, and I believe he's finished all but one of the races. He deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, and he's always showed
really
up as well, and he's picked up 10 seconds for cutting the corner in the process, but he's got no front wing.
That was him trying to get out of the way, though.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't think he was going to make the corner because he's got no front wing on that kick Sauber. But he is doing the right thing and staying out of the way. So.
Oh,
he's outbroke himself.
In the background, it didn't look that way.
But yeah, he deserves. And he knows that as long as he keeps going, he's guaranteed points, which will be 13 he will get because he's the only Tier 3 on track.
Yeah, he definitely is. I tell you what, right? He's just taken turn 16 and 17 with no front wing better than I took it with soft tyres, low fuel and a full front wing. He's just opted out of going in the pits. I'm wondering if he's got the biggest glitch of all of mankind.
I have no idea, because when I was looking at him, he had no front wing on that kick Sauber.
Well, he has got no front wing, even still. But he just took the line into the pits, and all of a sudden, the game's just thrown him back out on track. And he's just casually going around doing another lap. He's actually driving this with no front wing better than I drove any lap with a full front wing tonight, so fair play to him.
So what we're saying is Dan's a better driver than you.
Everyone's a better driver than me, mate. It's really, like, a couple of years ago, maybe I'd have backed myself. Now, no, there's no point. So,
Yeah,
but
what's the word am I thinking of?
yeah.
Your descent
Starts
has
with
been
S, ends with T, and has two
No,
letters in between it.
your
I'm not
ability
gonna.
descent has been phenomenal, mate.
I've had the. Oh, I said this the other day. I think it was in management or somewhere. I said I've had the biggest downgrade of all time, like the biggest downfall ever in racing history. It's got to be. Like, I remember on F122 when I was verging on top end tier 1, tier 2 pace, and then yeah, now I wouldn't even compete in my own tier. I'd still finish last. Right, let's see if it lets Dan pit this time. Yay! He got to pit and
And he's
he's
retired.
Okay.
Oh.
I probably shouldn't have celebrated that. My bad. I didn't know that was coming though. But I tell you what is a big fact here, though. Honestly, it's just proving now how difficult it is to overtake here.
Oh
With
yeah, because
Bobo
we've had
being with how close Doris. Oh, actually, speaking of it, Doris is going for him round the outside.
not able to make it stick though. See it lose there as well.
The thing is, they've added this straight that they've added really bugs me. Okay, because you would think if they're going to add a straight there, they would add a DRS zone to make it possible for overtaking. Why would you not put a DRS there when it's probably the biggest overtaking opportunity on this entire track?
Well, if you look closely enough, you got the run from 5 down to 7, and then you got the run down from 14 down to 16.
Yeah, but I
those
mean,
sections of the track
zone
are near enough identical in shape. Only the kink at 15 is a little bit more than the kink at turn 6.
The only thing is you carry slightly more speed, which makes them more difficult. Whereas the one, the new straight that they've added, is a very slow speed corner.
Yeah, and it's getting it under traction.
Yeah, so it's much easier to make an overtake. Whereas if you're doing it, you know, the first two.
So what you're saying is,
DRS one, if it was a bit longer, would be easier to overtake. But the first one is not, because it's reasonably high speed corner at the end of that as well.
Yeah, so what you're saying is take the first DRS zone and put it from turns 14 to 16 instead of 5 to 7.
No, what I would actually do is, you know, the one just before the long straight, the DRS zone that's literally just before it.
Move the DRS zone from 13 and move it to the corner after.
16. Yeah.
It's not a bad idea, really, as Ant's brought the fastest lap down again to a 30.7.
I'm officially going to become the renovator of the Singapore track and make it better for everyone. There you go. That's my new job.
Doris is gone!
Oh!
And there's a safety car!
Safety car! With 6 laps to go, this... I see.
Everyone's going to be bunched up, and we're not going to. It's going to be a very quick sprint to the end. The question is, do you take the softs get burnt really quickly round here? So it'll be a question who decides to go softs or who decides to go mediums. But those softs will give you such a pace advantage.
Right, do you want me to whisper you sweet nothings here that I would do if I was a certain Mr. Armar Red? I wouldn't pit.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you saying that
because the track position we've seen here for the last probably 15 odd laps with Bobo
track
having
position is critical.
And Doris internally attached to his rear. I nearly said something else then, but you get my point.
Yeah.
That it is that hard to overtake, and I mean, C8 Lou and Doris have both genuinely had the pace to overtake Bobo, but physically can't because of the track. So, if I was Armar Red, I would just stay out. I would plant my car in the middle of every single straight so that no one could get past me, and I would
Chris is in, Ant's in, no surprise.
Not that I'm trying to help anyone here, but I mean, I don't think anyone's also ever used my advice in their life. So, yeah.
Oh, Martin doesn't look happy in the YouTube chat. Literally glitched teams. FFS. I'm not. He's not happy that he's in a Red Bull, I don't think.
Martin loves the Red Bull. When I give it to him in tier 3 sometimes, I get absolute hate messages and death threats.
But you mentioned about staying out. Bobo, Seat, Lou and Armour have stayed out.
I think it's the right decision. I genuinely believe that's the right decision.
Which puts Ants...
Especially if those guys continue in a train.
Yeah.
Right? Boba, Ant and Chris, no matter what tyres they've got, I mean, it's hard enough to take one hit, let alone when they're all in a DRS train.
Yeah. And
in
another
a place
thing...
where DRS isn't that effective.
Yeah, and as we've seen in the past as well around here, when cars have been trying to catch the safety car, it tends to take quite a significant bit of time for cars to gather up to the safety car because of probably trying to preserve the life in those tyres and not use them, because you could guess that the likes of Red Car, Lorpe, Soze and Single Track, who are all trying to catch the safety car, especially Single Track down there in P9, who has got onto the soft tyre. He's going to be tiptoeing round to make sure he doesn't take too much out of those soft tyres before he gets to the safety car. But at the end of the... on another note, if you take too long to catch up to the safety car and the safety car decides to go in, you're on the back foot.
Yeah. The thing is, with Martin's point about being in the Red Bull, it is a bit of a difference because you have to get used to like the different gear shift noises and the engine and stuff like that.
Yeah, because each engine provider, whether it's Mercedes, Ferrari, Honda, or Renault in the back of that Alpine, they're all different engine notes and sounds. And I'd say the one...
I'll tell you what, Martin, if he'd have got a Ferrari, he would be seething 10 times more. He hates the Ferrari engine with a burning passion.
Well, funnily enough, I don't think Chris was a fan of the Ferrari engine at the start, but since being in the Haas last season in X-Treme and now the Ferrari in Tier 1 and X-Treme, he's kind of gotten used to the Ferrari engine, and I haven't heard him complain once about how much he used to hate the sound of the Ferrari engine. I mean, I remember before they made the changes to the sound of that particular engine, it sounded more like a Ducati than a Ferrari, if I must admit, before the sound, because they tweaked the sound of that Ferrari engine at one point in one of the updates.
Yeah. I just want to raise one very important point for the championship. I've just realised that Armour Red is in the net lead right now for Tier 2 because of the fact C8 Lou has a penalty.
Yes, he has. So Armour is in prime position and Chris is down in second. So because, as we know, Bobo stayed out.
I don't know how many points you get per second with this deduction. But that means, as things stand, Armour will take the lead of the championship heading into... Well, as things stand, anyway. Let's see if Chris can carve his way
safety
through,
car's heading in now, so it's down to Bobo. And
I'll say
Bobo
this now, if Chris
is
wins
in
this from here, I will give him driver of the day.
I would have to share it with Bobo because Bobo's done really well to get into this position. He started last with a quali ban and now he finds himself leading, going into the safety car restart, going on to lap 29 of 31.
If this was any other track, I would call Chris the favourite to win this, but
it's not going to be easy. And I think he's on mediums as well. Bobo's left it ever so late. Chris is already
How's Chris
ahead
not
of.
got on yeah, Chris has got an illegal overtake.
He's had to let Armar back through.
I knew it, he did it just before the line. I did see that, and I was like, how's he not been given one? But then he did.
Yeah,
so
Chris is on mediums. He's gone mediums for the restart. He hasn't gone for the softs.
Blame him. Softs
he's already
softs
right
are
on.
Absolute trash.
Yeah, and he's already on the attack on Armar already. He's not wasting any time. Armar's going to make him go around the outside though, but Chris is already through.
I know they're different tiers, right? But it actually makes sense for Armar to fight him because he does not want Chris getting up to Bobo. He doesn't.
No, but he's cleared Armar very quickly. But now Armar's going to be under attack from Ant.
What Armar can't afford is to jump out of that 3 seconds of C8 Lou.
Yeah.
And at the minute, Armar seems to have absolutely no heat whatsoever in those tyres. Armar is struggling like crazy.
Yeah, Chris has got better traction as well. He's had a little look around the outside of C8 Lou, but C8 Lou holds the position. But Chris has got such better grip on those medium tyres. C8 Lou defending very, very hard but fair. Chris is going to have the inside, and he's going to be up to second place now already. He's absolutely flying like on those mediums.
I'll be very surprised if Chris doesn't win this now. I mean, hey,
DRS is enabled now with 2 laps.
That's how you shut Connor up on comms, so fair play.
Pretty much, but it's like what me and Nev said once during a stream. I think it was, I don't know if it was the last one in Japan or the one before, but Chris has been a lot more punchy when it comes to X-Treme because he knows he's in an opportunity of a championship and he wants it. So he's been a lot more punchy in X-Treme than he has been.
I understand, but I mean, at this track, I just did not see him. Obviously he's got a massive tyre advantage, there's no denying that, but I just did not see him getting it. But he has, the traction is what is literally carrying him.
Yeah, he's got, especially out the low speed corners, it's a massive advantage on Chris's behalf with the fresher mediums.
Chris is going to take the lead here. I can already see it. No, he'll do the same as what he did to C8 Lou, I think. Yeah, Bobo's gone deep. Chris has got the run.
Yeah, speaking of C8 Lou, he's got Ant going round the outside of him. And that's Ant up into third.
Bobo's going to hold on.
Yep, Bobo holds station. But I can't see Bobo holding on to this lead on this last lap, especially with all the DRS zones we've got. Because we've got one now going into turn 1. Chris isn't close enough to make a move.
I'm not going to reveal it, but I will say, obviously you can't show it. I can look at it, but you can't show it. But the ERS is looking rather juicy between these two at the minute. Yeah, because we don't want to give anyone advantages on stream. But Bobo going very defensive already. Chris is going to have DRS. Bobo's going to force him round the outside. But then Chris, holding the inside. Chris is going to try and leave it around the outside, give him space by 4 wheels off. I believe he might have been.
I think he was just on, but Chris swoops around the outside and takes the lead on the last lap.
He may have had to yield that, I'm not sure. It looked 4 wheels off to me, if I'm honest.
From my view, it looked like 2, but...
it's very close, very close.
Yeah, it's
I'm
down
not to say too much, but...
down to Bobo whether he puts it in or not, but Chris is well and truly in a strong position to take the win now, because he's only got
second though.
There's a possibility for Ant to take second. C8 Lou's just dropped it, so he's now down the order. So Armar,
it's going to be level points heading in.
It's going to be level.
Ant's gone for it, but he's gone deep.
He has. Bobo's gone back through. Chris is going to take the win in Tier 1 and overall 20 points for Chris. Bobo gets second. Armar's going to get 20. We're level pegging going into Saudi after the Easter break.
What a race Saudi's going to be as well. Just like, if there's any track you don't want to be in a title fight at, I think it's Jeddah. That is probably the worst race you can go into a title battle with. But yeah, wild.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with the in-game drive of the day. Bobo started at the back and he's just finished second on the road.
I mean, I legally have to give it to Chris now, don't I, really?
Well, yeah, you kind of put yourself pinned up against the wall on that one. Chris takes the win after taking the safety car to pit for a fresh set of mediums. As you said, it was the traction out of those low-speed corners that was helping Chris more than anything. But Bobo put up a really tough fight.
Were out of DRS, I believe. So.
Yes, yeah, because he didn't quite make the move done, especially on the exit of turn 7. It would have been on the traction out of turn 7 and then the inside for turns 8, but we'll run through the provisional order. Chris wins, Bobo's second, Anti's third. Armar gets the win for Tier 2. Single Track comes second in Tier 2. Lorpy third in Tier 2. Red Car 7th. Lorpy third in Tier 2. Red Car 7th. Soze 8th. C8 Lou, the last of the runners, finishing in 9th place. And then we had a couple of retirements. Doris, Dan, and
Rassam,
that's the one, yeah. But yeah, brilliant. That safety car really spiced things up at the end because we had DRS for the last 2 laps and we had a fight for the win on the very last lap. I think that safety car definitely livened things up at the end because it was, as you said, it was very difficult to overtake because we had the likes of Armar, C8 Lou and Doris pretty much glued to the rear end of Bobo's Williams for who knows how many laps throughout that race. And then the safety car just packed everyone up and just brought this race to a firework conclusion. But yeah, that rounds off the race week at Singapore. We are not racing next week because it's the Easter bank holiday. We will be back in Saudi though on the 25th. Is when we get racing again for MRC. I believe it's the 25th.
Hold on. It is, yes, you are correct, 25th.
Yeah, so we'll be back racing again in MRC on the 25th of April for MRC X. Yeah, we do.
Because it's another bank holiday, so then you have another week break, and then we go to Zandvoort on the 9th. To the 14th.
Yeah, and that rounds off the season, and then it's kicking his heels until 25.
Then I think a few are going to be fairly happy to see the back of this game.
There's going to be quite a load of people to see the back end of this game. Definitely.
Yeah, I think mine will definitely be deleted the minute that my Zandvoort race finishes. Maybe before it even finishes. Who knows?
The question
it'll be gone very quick, I can say that.
The only time you probably won't be able to delete it as soon as possible is if you're commentating on the very last race of the season.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
You know what to do, Mark.
No, because he's watching as well, Carl. If I'm on comms, I swear.
Anyway, on that note, that's it for this week. As we say, we're back on the 25th after the Easter break around Saudi for the penultimate round of the season. So, thank you for being on comms tonight, Connor.
Yeah, thank you for having me. As always, a pleasure.
I mean, fair play, especially after a long race from Tier 3 earlier on, so fair play to you.
I walked in at 6:15. I haven't eaten. It's 10:30, and I need to get lunch for tomorrow, and I need to be up in 6 hours. So this is going to be fun.
So yeah, well, for Connor's sake and Connor's behalf, we're going to call it there then, because obviously no point yatting on now. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned for when the MRCX goes live on YouTube on the 25th of April. It is good night from myself and good night from Connor.
Good night.